So let's get into the next event you have. I saw like you threw out the bat signal. And I guess like you said, you can't release a lot of details, but are you kind of setting it up like the past ones? Now, some of the listeners won't have seen what you did last time. So let's also dabble into that. So you've already have two events that you've already had. The first one was in, like you said, Manteca.
Like you threat. I'm a threat. Yeah, it's a bet. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a threat. It's a bet. Yeah. Let's go. Blowing again. From. Whoa. Yeah. Making a killing. Oh yeah. In respect. It's a check. Oh yeah. I'm a threat. Yeah. It's a bet. Yeah. Ooh. It's a threat. Yeah. Ooh. Bag it up.
Local around here.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's okay, I'm recording. Everybody's ready.
Yeah.
Let's jump into this. All right, y'all. Drink tokens number 29. We got an oldie but goodie guest, the head honcho himself, Mr. Chuck Howard. Hey Chuck, how you doing? From the UBL. I'm sorry, my bad. From the Underground Ballers. How you doing, Chuck?
Good, man. How you guys doing today?
Good, bro. Hey, thank you for joining us again. And the last time was awesome because I totally didn't have any clue of any kind of like burial leagues that were going on, especially you guys were like kind of pioneering it up in the Bay. So before we get to that, because I want to get like an update on where UBL is right now and what you guys have planned. I saw a viral clip of you fighting the other day. What the hell is that, dude?
Yeah. There's a league called Punk Rock Fight League, and they're from SoCal. I got a buddy. He actually fought in the UBL. I don't know if you guys remember him. It was Chris Anxiety. He's
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy who emceed the last UBL. Him and his buddies, they put on a thing. And he's like, "Hey man, do you want to fight?" Because I had been speaking to him about, I haven't fought in probably about 8 years. I think the last time that I competed was about August 2013. So it's been just about 8 years. And he's like, I told him, I was like, man, every time I see the guys fight and stuff, I'm like, oh man, dude, that looks like so much fun. Like I miss it so much. And he's like, hey man, I'm doing this thing in October, if you want to be a part of it. And I said, yeah, man, just sign me up. So, I trained for it and, got ready and competed in that. And it was loads of fun. It was a backyard, punk rock show. They had music going on during the fights and stuff. And
It's a great combo. I saw it. It was a great combo.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a mosh pit gone right,
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, that know they're gonna fight, during a punk rock song.
and
You know?
that's kind of how it felt too. Because and during the fight stuff, you know, it was if you've seen it was a small ring. You know, they just had a square. You know, you're just fighting on this pad, and so you know you're right in front of the guy the whole time. And I remember there was a couple of instances where I was like, man, dude, I'm getting gassed, you know, because I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, I was getting a little tired. I'm like, man, dude, I need to get some space so I can get my
Yeah.
breath back. Jesus Christ, you know.
and you
And
don't have to say exactly where it was, but that was locally here in North.
no, that was not local. That was in SoCal.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't even know what city it was in. I just know it was kind of in the LA area, but
Mhm.
I don't even remember. He just gave me the coordinates, and he said to be there here at this time, and I showed up. So
Chuck
Yeah.
woke up
That's
in the back
cool.
of a U-Haul truck with a blindfold on. They're like, you got to fight your way back home.
oh, like put me in the Squid Games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
shit.
No, that was a good video. I mean, is there like I kind of like you up here, but is there like a marketing or promotional dude or gal that promotes it?
For that league, they tried to stay a little more low key.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They didn't really push like too much mainstream on the they didn't really push too heavy on the, I guess, the marketing of that, like kind of like how we did, or we tried to, just because they wanted to stay a little bit under the radar. It was their first show, and they're just kind of just filling the waters and just kind of
Yeah.
seeing how it is. I think they're planning on doing another one sometime soon, within the next couple of months. And that one, I think they're gonna do a little bit more marketing towards. This one was just like nobody knew what was going on. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't promote it.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep it like super low key.
It looked like
It
a
was
good crowd though.
No, it was. I was actually really surprised at the turnout. There was a tons of people there, and there was even more than that because our fight was, I think, the last fight of the night, and so there was probably about 3 or 4 fights prior to us, and a lot of the fans and the friends and the family members of the guys
Yeah.
who fought prior to us, they had already kind of dispersed and stuff, or kind of gone home. So the crowd that you've seen during our fight, it was probably double that at one point.
It looked like a cross between a quinceañera and a concert. Punk rock concert.
Yeah, 'cause the way they had the overhead and stuff. Yeah, the
Yeah.
entry they did it for charity. The entry fee to get in was you had to give a toy. So they took all
that's
the
cool.
toys, and they
That's
had
super
tons of
dope.
toys. They had like two tables, like 2 big party tables worth of toys. So it went really well, and they're gonna donate that to kids in need around the
Yeah,
holiday
yeah.
time. So it's pretty
That's
cool.
sick. That's sick. Hey, Chuck, do you mind? Sorry, real quick. Can you pull your mic away from your face a teeny bit? Yeah, let's try that right there.
Yeah, is that better? Is it too loud?
Well, I love your energy, so that's not the problem. Yeah, I
I
think
know,
that's,
I speak loud as it is, so you know what I mean.
that's cool.
Was there other obviously there was other fights during the
Yeah,
punk
yeah.
rock?
Yeah, there was shit. Let me think. There was maybe like I think there was 3 MMA fights and 2 other boxing matches besides mine. And they were pretty brutal, man. Even though we wore headgear, like for the UBL, I never had the guys wear headgear. I let them use the smaller gloves. The only type of protection they had was a groin guard, of course.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, it was when they fight in the UBL, it's pretty much like pro style.
Yeah.
Here they made us wear 16-ounce gloves, and they made us wear headgear.
Mhm.
But I mean, almost every single fight besides mine and probably one other one, drew a decent amount of blood.
oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think it's because of the size of the ring. You're kind of you're fighting in a phone booth, and you're
condensed.
you're forced to come at each other. Like you have no option. You can't use defense too much. because there's really nowhere to go. There's not much, there's not much footwork into it. You have, I think the pad was probably like maybe 10 by 10. There's, you're fighting in a jail cell. So yeah.
Oh shit, I love the reference.
Who was the guy you were fighting?
Yeah.
His name's CJ. I didn't know much about him.
Or?
Yeah, he's from down there. He's local to the to SoCal.
He looked like a thick Post Malone to me.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Everybody's like, yeah, it was a it was the fat Post Malone and the fat Jack Harlow. So
shit,
that's some good marketing right there. You should do do it again, the rematch.
Yeah, well, actually for this next event the UBL, we're putting on an event in December, and me and CJ have been in the talks, and this time it's going to be at a full size boxing ring, and he wants to have a rematch. So I think I'm going to end up rematching him in December. So
are you guys going to do that around here or down there?
No, it'll be in I can't get out too much about the location, but it'll be in Southern California-ish. Yeah.
Okay. But you're gonna promote it with your team UBL.
Yeah, it's our next show is gonna be more of like a collaboration show. I got in touch with it's not another promotion company, it's a trainer. Yeah. He trains boxing specifically, and he has a private, he has private property basically. And on this property he's built kind of like just like a boxing venue.
Oh shit!
Kind of like a desert boxing venue.
Yeah.
And he has like a full size ring and stuff, and he's already done I think 2 or 3 shows out there, and they look really good. So, and he always does them for charity as well. I think this time, I think the charity he chose, I think we're doing it for firefighters or something like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I believe so. I think it's for firefighters, and that'll be December 4th. I can't give out too much details about it.
I think that's good. I think that's all like a chess move too for charity, because if you get busted, you're like, shit, this was for Toys for Tots. God damn it. That's why we're out here beating each other, right? It's not like we're charging $20 a head. Toys for Tots, Sheriff Department.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Usually, I mean, that's usually always a good way to go. Even at our last UBL show, we took a portion of our proceeds and we donated it, to local elementary schools. So as long as you kind of got that, that's sort of I guess a loophole.
No, I like it. I like it
to get around it, but yeah, for the most part, it's pretty illegal.
So I think that's the thrill of it, though, right? That's
it
kind of
is.
rush.
I don't feel like it should be illegal. I mean, I feel like if you and a bunch of other guys, even like you should have the right to get together and beat each other up. So I mean, that's just how I feel. But unfortunately, California State Athletic Commission doesn't feel the same way. So they've contacted me a couple times, and that was kind of part of the reason why we had a show scheduled for September 11th, and that's pretty much the main reason why that one fell through. Was just because a lot of pressure from them, and then there was also some venue issues. So the combination of that was just.
So do you think it's easier to pull off something like this in SoCal than NorCal?
It seems like it. It does seem like it because, I mean, the Punk Rock Fight Club with the show that I just did, there was no heat on them. There's also another league in Southern California called Backyard Squabbles, and they've done a ton of shows, and they did probably about like 8 shows before I think California State Athletic Commission started to go on to them. I don't know if we got heat on us pretty quick, like pretty much after that first show that we did in June. Like 2 weeks later, I started getting text messages and phone calls.
Yikes.
Sorry, Chuck, what do they want? What do they want? Like, you gotta like do like an application and have money?
What they want is they want you to basically get all your permits. They want you to do like all that's they want you to do it, I guess, legit. But the main reason is it because they want their piece of the pie.
Right.
They don't know what you're making. Honestly, off the 2 shows that I did, off the first show I did, I mean, but the thing is, a lot of us like underground leagues, I've even talked with the other guys that run theirs, like, we're not getting rich off this shit.
Right.
We do this mostly for fun. I think off the first show that I did in Manteca, I think I lost money, and then the second one I broke even. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're getting rich off the shit, but they still want their cut.
Yeah.
And they want to be able, you know, they try to twist it. I mean, I guess it is. I guess they're not twisting. I guess it is for that. They make it seem like it's a safety thing. Like,
Right.
oh, you need to go through the permits. You need to have all the right things, and you
Yeah,
need
you
to have
gotta
like officials
Porta
there
potties,
in
security.
case things happen. But I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I feel like I said, I feel like you should be able to get together and beat each other up whenever you feel like it.
Right. Well, that's what I
Um,
met by my grandpa. I guess that's something they did back in like the fucking 40s. Would be like they'd work on a truck, and then at lunch you'd have a boxing match for shits and giggles. You know.
It's probably gonna, as far as money too, and they want their piece. I know that permits cost money, so
Oh yeah, they cost.
you
they cost,
would have to almost raise money to pay for the permit, right?
Yeah. I think shit from what I've seen, all the permits to get everything legit for myself and for the league, it probably cost us maybe like 13 grand.
Fuck.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
who's got that like laying in their
Yeah,
pocket?
exactly. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big, you know, we're just trying to, you know, just put on some shows and have some guys fight each other. These guys are all agreeing to it. I got waivers
Yeah.
and stuff that I have the guys sign.
Right.
So you know, it's like I'm not forcing them, not putting their gun to their head. They want to do this, and I'm just kind of the middleman that just finds the venue and puts together the show, and then
Yeah.
you know the fighters go out there and they do their thing, and you know
I
everybody
bet
loves
it's hard
it.
to find a venue too, right? Because the venue's got to agree. They're going to be worried. They're going to be in hot water. So
Well, they want to
yeah.
make
I'm
their
sure a
money
lot of
too,
venues are
right?
standoffish.
That's been a big issue. I got lucky finding the venue in Manteca. They were doing wrestling shows. They were doing, you know, pro wrestling shows, and I got in contact with the guy who runs the bar over there, and I was like, hey man, if you guys are doing this, would you guys be willing to take us in? And we convinced them, and we got that show going. And that was a pretty dope show at the pub in Manteca. And then I had got in contact with Rich, and he had just, you know, his venue is just basically an open field. It's pretty much made for a farmer's market. And I was like, well, man, this is a perfect place to do it. And he went with it too. And that's how we did the second show. But other than that, I've talked to dozens of, you know, little bars and places like that. And they all say, nah, man.
Why don't you go back to Manteca, back to that pub and redo it?
Because I guess afterwards I guess their insurance had found out that they were running pro wrestling shows, and they did our show, and I guess their insurance didn't know about it. And the insurance is like, hey man, we found out that you're doing these shows, and you're not covered for that, bro. So they're actually in the process of trying to like get an upgraded insurance to where it does cover events like ours, and hopefully
because I'm sure they have an entertainment license, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they do live music and stuff, but it's totally different, you know, combat sports. So
yeah,
you know, people are getting, you know, people are getting hurt.
They want you to have like an ambulance out front even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like
they want you to have like a certain amount of medics on site.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like a high school football game.
Yeah, officials and stuff like
policies,
that. Yeah. I mean, we had medics, our guys that are medics that were off duty there, just in case, you know, and we had, you know, first aid kits and all that kind of stuff. And you know, a lot of the guys that competed, you know, their trainers are legit trainers, and they know what to do in case of, you know, somebody gets knocked out or hurt or something like that. So there was tons of people there who could have helped out. I mean, but good thing, I mean, in the two shows that we've done, nobody's gotten really seriously hurt.
Sorry, real quick. I want to go back to your fight, and then let's talk about like some of your experiences with the events you've thrown. So going back to your fight, did your opponent land some good shots on you? Could your conditioning could have been better?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I hadn't fought in probably about 8 years. I probably put a good couple months of training into it. You know, when I can. It was a decent training camp, but when you know, actually being in front of the crowd, and when that adrenaline kicks in and stuff, that, you know, it saps you of a lot of energy and stuff. It's just a totally different animal. And yeah, as far as like conditioning, I was very tired, especially going into that third round. The first round I felt good. Second round, I was, you know, so I was starting to feel a little tired. But going into that third round, man, I was pretty gassed after about 30 seconds into that third round. And it just, man, when I train, you know, I train for about, you know, with 1 minute rest. You know, I do like, you know, anywhere from 4 to 5 minute rounds, you know, on the heavy bag or whatever I'm doing, and I have about 1 minute rest. But when we were fighting, I don't know who was keeping track of the the rest times, but I felt like I feel like as soon as the bell rung, I walked to my corner and
you had to go back out there.
and this is what it felt like. I felt like, all right, the bell rings, I walked to my corner, I grabbed my water, I took a sip, put my mouthpiece back in, and as soon as I turned and I look back at my opponent, there was a guy standing in front of the ref standing in front of me saying, "You ready? You ready? You ready?" And I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like I just all I was able to do is get a sip of water. Like Jesus Christ, give me a second, let me breathe."
How long were the rounds? How many minutes were the rounds?
They were 2 minutes. I haven't timed them. I went back and I watched the fights, and I did time the rest times between between rounds, and they were about 35 seconds.
Wow.
So that's a quick turnaround, especially for a big boy like me. In that fight, I was fighting 270, and that's probably the heaviest I've ever competed. But yeah, man. So that was a little rough. I wasn't anticipating that. I was hoping for a little bit more rest time. But I mean, it was a good, it was a good experience. As far as his hits, none of them really affected me in the part where I felt like I was in danger or anything like that.
Right.
He did catch me he did get some decent body work in the first round, and I was definitely feeling it in the third round. Because he had got some good clean body shots in that first round, and then by the time the third round came around and I was really starting to gas, there was a point like halfway through the third round, I was starting to think in my head, man, I might not make it. I might not make it. I feel like I'm going to pass out, because when you take enough body shots, they accumulate. And they're easily accumulated on somebody of a larger size who doesn't who's not conditioned like that in the midsection. So he had landed some good ones early in that first round, and I had started to feel them in the third round. And there was a point about halfway through the third round where every time I would take a breath in, so I would take a breath in, and then as soon as I would let that breath out, all of the muscles around my stomach were just like cramping and just closing in on me. So the bigger breath I took, the harder they cramped. So I was like, I started to have to take a little breath. I was like, quick breaths, and it was affecting me a lot. So
yeah, if you don't have that, I mean, my little experience with any sort of oxygen deprivation is like playing basketball, and it's like if you if you run like super hard and you're gassed, like you can't concentrate on a fucking anything, like a rebound, a layup, fucking anything. So I guess I could try to imagine that.
At that point, you're just in survival mode.
You're just like walking like a zombie walking around. You're like, but kudos to maybe it's your wife or your corner, because somebody was out there yelling like in that third round, like, "Come on, you can do it!" Like, "Come on, babe!" And then like you throw a punch and like, "Yeah, you got it." And then someone else is like, "All right, just get your breathing right." And so it was all the resources were coming in at the
Yeah. I mean, during the fight, half that shit you don't even hear, because I said, you're in survival mode and you're so zoned in. I didn't hear hardly any of that. I mean, you hardly ever do, especially when you're my main thing was just, I kept just saying to myself, "Don't pass out. Don't pass out."
Yeah. Don't get knocked out either.
Yeah. Don't get knocked. Don't get caught. Don't get knocked out, and don't pass out. So I was like, well, you made it this far. You probably got about another minute left in this round. It's just finish the round, just finish the fight. So that was my thing. I was like, I just want to finish the fight. If I could finish the fight, I was pretty happy with that. So, coming off a.
Yeah, and you guys were so close to the band too. I thought the guy was gonna give you the mic. He's gonna be like,
they were right there. They're like, "Fight, motherfucker, fight!" I'm like, "Oh fuck!" All right, I guess I gotta fight.
Yeah.
And then, like I said,
the ref looked like he was part of the band.
Yeah,
I thought he was a band member.
Yeah, he had a mask on. That one dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And every time it did feel like a mosh pit too, because every time I was backing up, I could feel a bunch of hands on me, like pushing me back in. They were like,
that's what I thought it was when I first watched.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What do they call that? What do they call that wrestling? Like a lumberjack match or something? Where they like, if you get outside, they'll throw you back in.
Yeah.
Survivor Series.
Yeah. So
hey, how about this? I know you do the basically almost semi-pro or whatever you want to call it, boxing. How about a bar fight? I come from the bar industry. You ever been in a good knock 'em out, rock sock 'em bar fight?
I've been in one, and that was a long
Yeah.
time ago, right when I turned 21. That was
Nice.
probably the only time I've ever really been in a bar fight like that. I tried not to fight too much outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I did a lot when I was younger, you know, and when I was a teenager, and
Sure.
you know, stuff.
Because you had to have been motivated somewhere in your youth, right? For you to do this now, what sparked your interest? That's what I'm getting to. Like, was
well,
there
I
some fight in high school? Maybe you lost and it made you angry, and then you started
No.
training.
It was. I mean, it kind of was that, but it was much younger than that. I grew up in Stockton. It's kind of a rough environment, and I got bullied a lot. You know, as a young kid, maybe like 6, 7, and from then I was like, hey man, I'm not gonna get bullied no more. So and I already kind of my dad and all my uncles and stuff. They watched boxing, and so I was pretty much a fan of the sport. And I was like, hey man, I want to, I told my dad, I want to, can you take me to a boxing gym? I want to go start training.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. So he started looking around, and then he got me in with the PAL boxing, the Police Athletic League in Stockton.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I started, and I started training there probably about 8 years old, and then I started competing probably about 11, and then I competed from 11 to at first, it was just to learn how to fight and just protect myself and be able to pretty much beat anybody that would try to step to me, because I was always a big guy. But I was, as a kid, I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm kind of a softie. So I don't like violence too much unless unless it's for sport. But that's kind of what it started as. But then as I started to do it, started to grow more of a love for it, and I continued to be a fan of the sport as well. And then I had like I said, I competed from about 2001 to 2013, and then I just had this recent fight again, and that was a rush. That was fun. So I'll probably I'll probably be doing it again in December. So
once you're in a fight, it's weird. It's almost like you gotta trick your mind. That's not a bloodlust thing, because I mean, as a bouncer for 13 years, I'm not gonna lie, I've stood over people and looked down at them, and other than maybe fucking or having sex, there's nothing other biggest rush. I'm gonna be real with you. Right?
You're right.
You put fucking someone to sleep.
Oh
you look down at them.
Oh my god,
that's a whole crowd. You got a line of people trying to get in the bar, and that person's asleep. There's something weird animalistic about it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not condoning it, but it's a weird mental rush, and you have to trick your mind that this isn't good. This is actually not good. Don't fall into this bloodlust. Yeah,
to a point where you have to stop. You have to stop, hitting the guy, because it's just it's something to stick to, especially in a street fight. In a boxing match, I feel like it's a little bit different because it's more, I guess, not choreographed, but in a way choreographed. There's rules, but especially in a street fight, knocking somebody out. Hitting somebody and just feeling their knuckles against you hear the noise
match. Even like in high school, maybe you don't know how to fight, so you're wrestling some guy and you pin
exactly
him, right.
You put him in a rear naked, or a guillotine. Beating up somebody is,
hopefully it's for
fun.
Self-defense.
It's fun. I hope it's self-defense. You're not going to go out and start punching people. But I think you're right. There is something like weirdly like animalistic about it, to a point where
there is, and you kind of get a fucking high off of it.
You do. It's crazy. It's almost like you said. Besides like having sex, dude, like that's one of the biggest rushes that there is. Like when you hit a guy clean and he's cold knocked out, like the rush you get from that is just, it's insane. I think everybody should try it. But only
in a
have
safe
to.
manner, of course.
And you guys have
nothing illegal.
We have a whole league
and start punching people.
No. Hey, wait a minute. What's the show about? but that's why there's the UBL and the other leagues, right? Or these gyms. It's like people are out there that have that experience, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna refine my skills." And then you just have two alphas that are meeting, or two pit bulls that meet each other. It's different. And
for leagues like ours, like underground leagues, a lot of these guys that are coming in, they're some of them are street fighters, so that's all they know. They're like, hey man, I don't know how to box. I don't really know how to fight formally, but I've been in tons of street fights. And I'm like, well, as long as you're down, you're willing to abide by the rules, and this is not a street fight, and you're willing whatever you want to do, whether it's MMA or
Yeah.
boxing, and you know, you just do your thing. And yeah, it's a rush. It's addicting.
Yeah.
It's addicting. Yeah.
So let's get into the next event you have. I saw like you threw out the bat signal. And I guess like you said, you can't release a lot of details, but are you kind of setting it up like the past ones? Now, some of the listeners won't have seen what you did last time. So let's also dabble into that. So you've already have 2 events that you've already had. The first one was in, like you said, Manteca.
Yeah.
Second one was San Jose. The first one had a ring. The second one had like a mat on the ground.
Yeah, it was supposed to have a ring, but the thing is, yeah, it was supposed to have a ring.
No, that's okay. But I mean,
it was more of an open mat thing. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that though. So there's 2 different sort of infrastructure sort of things going on. Is there a difference between fighting in those 2 different sort of things, or is it kind of the same? You just gotta be mindful or whatever. I mean,
at the end of the day, you know, it's a fight, but it's a huge difference from fight on that open mat, especially how we had to rig it up. It wasn't meant to be like that. It was kind of, I didn't do my due diligence, and I didn't check the soil of that.
Well, also,
I
mean, let's face it. I mean, if it's not a ring in the ground, that's going to be hard as hell if you fall and hit your head.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the
gist of it. Thankfully nobody got hurt that day.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. Nobody got seriously hurt, other than, you know, what they were supposed to. You know, they took some punches to the head.
Through the fight.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a huge difference. I mean, it was you know, it was my fault. It was a quick turnaround, because I think we did the first one like June 28th, and we did the one in San Jose, the second one like July 24th.
Yeah, it seemed super fast. Yeah.
And yeah, so it was like a 3-week turnaround. And when I went and I visited the venue in San Jose, you know, when you look at it, it just looks like, you know, soft dirt and hay. You know, I didn't think nothing of it. So I didn't check the ground. I didn't see, and the way that ring that because we were gonna have a flat ring, it wasn't gonna be an elevated ring. And the way that ring is best set up is if it's staked into the ground.
Yeah. Who has the ring? Let's take a back step. Who owns a ring though? Or whose ring were you supposed to use?
Well, the ring that we used, or that we were supposed to use, was it's a trainer by the name of Clint Cornell. He's the striking coach at AKA. And,
oh wow, okay.
I'm friends with him, and I said, hey man, you know, can I wrench a ring off you for the day?
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything wrong with his ring. His ring is perfectly fine. It was just that the ground, once we try to put those stakes into it, you know, to have tension points at all 4 ends, once we put that stake into the ground, once you got about, you know, that much into it, it's the top is soft, but once we started to like try to put the stake in there,
I know
that shit was concrete. It was like concrete, or like a hard rock, and we were like, what the fuck, like, dude, we're gonna need like, you know,
like cinder blocks or something to like kind of like start to like build up. Yeah,
it almost felt metal, and even the way it sounded too, like the way it pinged.
Yeah.
I was like, is it just like a big sheet of metal? And I didn't think nothing of it too, because it's 2 lots right next to each other, and the lot next to the lot where we had the venue, if you look at it, all the dirt is like ruffled up, and you know, it's all beat up. And so I'm like, oh, this lot, you know, the only thing that's dividing them is a gate. It's really just one big lot.
Right.
But and that side looked, you know, it looked like soft dirt. So I was like, I was assuming, oh, this side's soft dirt too. It'll be easy, but it wasn't. And we didn't find that out till the day of.
So you couldn't move it to another portion of the field?
No, it was all metal on his side, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, dude, that's my bad. Like I didn't check that. So at that point, we tried to start putting like weights. And we were like, all right, well, maybe if we don't stake in the ground, we could just like weight it, put like big ass cinder blocks or weights on all 4 corners, and it'll hold all of the
tension, you know, and like you said,
yeah. And then we started trying to use cars.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, we tied you know, to the tailgates of cars,
like a tent.
Yeah, exactly. So we started to do that. That didn't work. So at one point we had wasted, you know, 2 or 3 hours on trying to get this ring up, and we're like, and you know, people are getting antsy and shit. And it was, you know, it was fucking Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong in the very beginning. But once I was like, all right, fuck it. We're just gonna put the mats down. They're just gonna have to fight on top of the mats. There's not gonna be no ropes or anything. Just put the mats down, and put the tarp on top and just have them fight on top of that. I mean, that's all we could do.
Right.
Nice.
I talked with all the fighters. I gathered them. I said, hey, who's still down to fight? Like, this is our ring situation. I told them what it was, and I told them the risk of it, and 90% of them said, yeah. I think 2 guys dropped out. So we had 13 or 14 fights. Initially, we ended up with 11 or 12, which is still not bad.
That's
and then
awesome.
as soon as we got the fighters out there, the crowd was happy. And I think I was surprised. I think we only had maybe about 4 or 5 people ask for refunds.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, so the first half was a shit show, and then the second half, once we started getting the fights out there, that's all everybody wanted. That's all the fighters just wanted to fight, and the people just wanted to see the fight. And once we started getting that going, everybody was pretty pleased after that. And people were telling me, "Hey man, that was a great show you put together." In my head, I'm like, "Man, that was if you only knew." You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like sweating your ass off.
Yeah, exactly.
So
How about finding-
real quick,
what
Rob.
about? I'm just trying to solve your problems. What about if you found like a local boxing person or trainer or CrossFit place that would be willing to use their venue or maybe even their boxing ring?
So we did.
I know there's a lot of boxing places.
No, I called every gym in San Jose.
Yeah.
And the thing is with that is when these people when these gyms open up their gyms, and they a lot of them have rings inside the gym. So you're like, oh hey, you're thinking, hey, I could call up a gym and just say, hey, can I use your ring for the day? But the thing is, when they bought that ring, they purchased it and had it built into that facility.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And so they don't know how to pull it. They don't know how to take it apart and mobilize it. They don't have the people or the equipment for that, because that's not what it was meant for. They, in their mind, they're like, well, I'm buying this ring for my gym and it's never going to leave my gym. They had never planned on somebody like me calling them up and saying, hey, I'm from the UBL and I'm doing a show. Can I borrow your ring? Like they had never
borrow
planned
your Easy Up. Yeah.
Yeah. They had never planned for that. And it's kind of, it's kind of, and that those things are expensive. So they're not willing to take a risk and be like, well, if I let you use it and try to take it apart, what if we can't put it back together again? And then that fucks up my business. So they can't do that. It was a risk for them. And then the people who actually there was a couple people who actually had the resources to be able to, move the rings and stuff. But they were like, well, your show's not legit enough. Like you're not a USA boxing show. And we don't want somebody like, what if we let you
really tear it up or something?
And someone dies.
Exactly. Somebody dies in our ring, and now we're liable because we let you use our ring for your illegal show. And now we're stuck in your shitstorm. So it
sounds like there's a lot of challenges besides the permits. There's a lot of uphill battles just to get this stuff on the ground.
Yeah, I know. There is. There's just a lot of things like that. Like there's tons and tons of things you have to like just little things like that. And that and because when I first started doing this, when I came up with the idea in I think like late April or May, I thought it was gonna be a lot easier to put it all together. But now, I got a lot of respect for the guys that are doing this as well, because there's a shit ton of stuff that goes into it, and there's and it's weird because not a lot of people want to really work with you because you're not legit. So that's really the main thing, is because you don't have the permits and you're not. Everybody's trying to cover their ass, you know what I mean, which is fair. So, and they don't want to be involved in something if something goes wrong, even though nothing has gone wrong in the 2 that we've done. You never know. You never know when that kind of
makes sense.
So one of the things I really loved, and I saw the first one on the live feed. So I loved the live feed on IG for the first one. It was like every fucking match, there was like it would be like walking through the crowd and having like towards the end of the night, whoever the cameraman was having like drunk conversations with people, and it was like it was super dope. But it was like the live feed. I didn't get to watch the second one, so I think that was like such a cool part of it, because I think one thing with like all these events these days, you got to pay for everything.
Yeah,
and for you guys, you had like not only was it you had your card built up to like the higher skilled folks were towards the end, at least it's kind of what it seemed like with John.
Yeah.
But then also you have like MMA, you have boxing, so you kind of have like a variety of kind of things going on. And even in the early hours, you guys had the bands too. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like this full-fledged fucking 6 hours or 5 hours of stuff on a live feed. So I thought that was like super dope too. And yeah, I don't know if you guys did that for the second one, but I thought that was
we did.
cool.
We did do that. We did do that for the second one. I don't think we covered as much. I think the second one, I think we had a shit ton of performances. We had like 7 or 8 performers, but they were all
Damn.
local rappers from the Bay Area.
Okay.
We covered a few of them, but also with that, I think we had about eight performers, and I think only maybe like 5 of them got to actually perform, because on that venue there were so many things, because there's only so much power, you know.
Oh,
And
okay.
we had vendors too who had like were doing fried food and stuff, and they were all pulling from the same power source as the DJ and stuff. And so at one point, shit started to short circuit. And
Oh damn.
yeah, and so I think we were only able to get out maybe like 5 out of the 8 of the show, 8 of the performers. They weren't
Like
really tripping.
you're like, no scratching. We gotta fucking fry the chicken. Fry the corn
Someone
dogs.
should have like a generator maybe or something.
Yeah,
Backup
that's one thing we hadn't anticipated. I have a generator now in case we do another show there or a venue like it.
Yeah.
So that's something I did invest in going forward. So I learned a lot of things from that one. But
That's
that was
dope.
one of the
That's
things I was
dope.
like, damn man, I should have got a generator. Like, you know, but it's all a learning process. Like I said,
Yeah.
you know, it was our second show, and you know, every venue that we do, there's going to be hiccups, and the only thing we can really do from it is learn and just try not to replicate those mistakes over and over again.
So now Three's a Charm. When do you think you're gonna do one here in the Bay Area?
Well, this next one will be in the SoCal area, and we're thinking we're going to do another one here in the Bay Area. Probably, we're thinking early. I've talked with we might do it at the same venue we did the second one, but there's also another venue that I'm talking to. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
But hopefully one of those 2 venues, and we're thinking early February.
Yeah.
Early February for that, and then we should be back in the Bay Area.
You gotta do the marketing, the Valentine's Day massacre.
Yeah.
We were trying to do a Halloween one. We were gonna do. The plan was to do one in Manteca. We had made this plan back in June before all the shit, all the California State Athletic Commission came down on us. But we had planned on doing one on October 30th in Manteca and calling it the Manteca Massacre.
Nice.
So yeah, because I guess they have at that pub they have this a big Halloween party that they throw every year, and I guess he's like, yeah, the place gets packed, 400 or 500 people there.
Damn.
So we were like, well, what if our plan was to have the show and the party on the same night, and it was just going to be a huge thing. But
yeah, maybe small towns like that are going to be easier for you to have an event. Let's just be real, like a small town.
Yeah, that's why Manteca is probably perfect. I've also talked to a couple of venues in Stockton that are a little interested. So possibly, Stockton area. I kind of want to do one. I mean, I wouldn't even be against doing one like in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like I live here in the Bay Area. I live in San Jose, and there's not really much like that.
Yeah.
Or in San Jose, and I feel like San Jose should have more combat sports. So. I'm gonna try my hardest to have as many.
Yeah, Manteca's not that far either.
No,
that's a quick drive.
About an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, they got the best Sizzler out there. You've been out to that Sizzler?
No,
I've never been to it.
I tell you, they got the best Sizzler I've ever been to in Manteca. It's nice.
Shit, man. I'll have to check that out next time I'm down there.
It's right by the Wolf Lodge. It's huge.
Oh, I know where that's at. Yeah.
It's like 2 blocks away from the Wolf Lodge. The most pristine Sizzler you ever been to. Let me tell you.
Call in advance, get a reservation.
Yeah. So all right. Let's talk your fighters. So who's a standout candidate for fighter of the year so far out of the UBL or your opponent stables? Like, there's got to be somebody that sticks out. That's like, I know there's probably a lot of like fighter of the year sort of like match of the year kind of stuff, but
I would say as far as single fighters, I would probably say there's 2 that stand out to me. There's one, his name is he goes by Champ Hamilton. He was the co-main event for the last UBL. And he also fought a guy named Southpaw in the first UBL. And I think, and he's going to be fighting in December 1st as well. So, I mean, he's been to he was signed up for the third event, but that one obviously fell through. But he's a pretty good one. He hasn't had a loss yet. He's really entertaining to watch. check him out if you can. I think we have his fights up on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
And yeah, I would say either him or there's another guy named Jaime Gallardo. He's a smaller guy. He fights at about 135, and he's fought at both events as well. And I think he lost the first fight, but it was a super like that was like one of the best fights of the night. And then then he fought in the second one, and he also had a really entertaining fight. I would say one of those two guys are probably, I would say, my personal candidates for fighters of the year.
And where do these people train? You train them at your place?
No.
Where do they train?
They train at different spots. Like Jaime, he trains with a coach here in San Jose called he's a private coach or independent coach. He goes by Coach Major. And so he trains with him. Champ is from I think Riverside, and he trains at some gym down in Riverside. A lot of these guys, they do train in gyms. Some of them train, just in their backyards. I think the only guys that I've trained personally, also probably another candidate for fighter of the year is probably, he was on the show with me last time is Danny, Danny Desperado. I mean, he had two really good fights. His first fight was entertaining. He got a draw. And then his second fight, he demolished that dude. He put him out with like, I think he only threw to his body for like two. He threw only body shots for like 2 rounds straight, and he was hitting him to the body. Like I think he threw like 90% of the punches to the body, which is weird because I was the person who actually trained Danny. I'm the one who taught him how to box, and every time we're sparring here at the house, we're doing stuff. He's always hunting for your head. Like he's always trying to take off your head. I'm like, I mean, and he's got heavy hands, so but I'm like, hey man, just let him swing, because I'm not going to tell him hold back, because then he's going to practice how he fights, and then he's going to hold back at the fight.
Right.
But usually you have to watch out for him, because he throws heavy shots to the head, and he almost throws exclusively to the head. Like I'm like, hey Danny, like there's a body too, and you realize like the body's almost easier to hit because it doesn't move. Like,
right.
You can't move your body. You can move a head and dodge a punch, but the body's always going to be there.
Well, right. Plus your arms kind of hang low anyway. You can kind of
exactly. It was weird. But then in his second fight, I think it was John or somebody told him, hey man, go to the body. Like they had just like given him like a little cue, like a little reminder, like, hey, don't forget the body. And he took that to heart, and he threw like almost every single punch to the body. And he put the guy they ended up having to call the fight because the guy just couldn't take anymore.
He was like fucking
kind of crumbled. So
he was shitting blood the next day.
Yeah.
How about this? How about opening up your small own boxing training gym?
How
difficult is that?
Depends on where you are. I guess, here in California, of course, like to start a business is a little more expensive, and you need a few more things. I'm contemplating moving to Arizona, possibly the Phoenix area, maybe sometime in 2022. So I'm thinking, obviously as I am now, I pretty much just train, friends, family, my brother and stuff, people that know me. And I haven't really tried to make a business of it. I used to personal train back in the day. And we can
assume you have a normal 9-to-5 currently, or?
Currently I work from home.
Okay.
So yeah, I do my own thing from home. I kind of got a business going for there, like entrepreneur type thing.
Got it.
So that's pretty much what I do.
Dope.
But as far as that, I've been really contemplating that, because I've been getting, it's fun. It's fun to teach people. I like teaching people, especially if they want to learn. And it's always something I've always enjoyed doing, was teaching people, whether it's fitness or boxing or any aspect of anything. If I could teach it or I could help out, I'm always usually willing to. If you're willing to give the same energy back to me and you want to learn.
Your energy level is like 1,000, so that's what makes you. And you're like such a nice guy too, so that's like super dope about who you are. Yeah.
I try. So but yeah, that's something I've kind of thought of. But I think for people to really take me serious, I think I probably have to get back in shape. I think that's something. Now that I'm kind of working from home and I got a lot of more free time, I'm kind of setting my mind on getting back in shape.
No. You got like Custom Motto. You got like all these guys on ESPN that are all the commentators. But like, all the OG champs had these like the fucking Mr. Miyagi's. You're like a Mr. Miyagi, though.
And That is a good point, and I agree. I don't feel like, you know, the way that you. I mean, I've competed. I've done this stuff. You know, I've been in really good shape before. You know, but you know, now I'm just regular dude. You know. I eat what I
it's like
want and do
NFL,
what I
right?
want.
Look at like Andy Reid and all these other.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
coaches.
It's not, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
I think the age that we live in now is a lot more superficial because of social
It is.
media.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you have to, you know, people are looking for the look. So I mean, I think people take you a lot more serious because
No, you're right. Yeah.
if you looked the part, which is weird and it's stupid because the way that you look and what you have, the knowledge you have in your brain has no correlation at all.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, like, you can, I mean, there's tons of guys out there who, if you look the part, if you got a six pack and you're fucking ripped, everybody will be like, oh, that guy has to know about fitness, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not always true.
Yeah.
That's
Trust me
true.
though. I mean, as a bouncer for 13 years, I've seen plenty in shape, cock diesel people get KO'd.
KO, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I'm
matter,
telling you,
yeah.
I've seen some like gym rat dudes coming in, size medium shirt, and I've seen some doughboys just put them to
lay
sleep.
them out, or even those really like stringy dudes, like they look
Yeah.
like, you know, the Nate Diaz type guys. They look like they're like worms and shit, but
Yeah.
when they connect on you, dude, it's all about just, you know, it's not really about that.
It's like a
No,
whip,
no, it's
yeah.
not. When people want to fight at the bar, right, we put them out front and we tell them, hey, if you really want to fight, now's your chance. But it's a gamble. I don't know this guy. I'd always tell them to calm him down. You sure you want to fight this guy? It's a gamble. Oh, I can take him. I got him. And they're smaller and shorter, right? But you don't know their background. You don't know how squirrely they are, how crazy they are.
Yeah.
And I'd always tell people, if you want to fight, it's a gamble. Don't think it's a win-win. It's a gamble.
Nothing's guaranteed. It's, you know, any given Sunday, you know what I mean? Anybody could win.
Yeah.
All it takes,
sure.
especially in fighting, all it takes is one shot.
Yeah.
No matter, you know, you can fight a guy who's half your size. If he catches you at that right moment, you know, you're gonna go to sleep. That's just how it is.
The worst punch I ever took working at a bar was from a woman, from a
oh,
girl.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
What? Tell me about that. What happened?
I think I was working at San Jose Bar and Grill probably like 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And these girls got in a fight, these little mamas, you know, from the east side. And we escorted them out, and I had one by the shoulders, and I put her outside, and I looked back at the fight, make sure it was over, and I let her go, which was a bad mistake. And as I let her go, she was so short, and she had a wedding ring on or something. She just punched up at me, hit me right in the lip, cracked me open. It was the worst punch I ever took. Was from this 5'0" East Side mama.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody laughed at me at the end of the night. I still have the scar right here. She must have had some healthy ass rock on her, man. And
Okay,
you know,
those rings are no joke, man.
and she didn't have to cock back. It was just a straight punch up to me.
She didn't even put no power behind it. She was like a 1-inch punch. She
She just did a like, oh, you get, and then just fucking split my lip. So you can't underestimate anybody.
No, not for a second, man.
You know,
not for a second.
So yeah, let's go. Okay, so for the event coming up, I said again, you put out the bat signal. So what types of fighters are you looking for?
You know, anybody who wants to compete. We're looking for boxing or MMA. We were thinking about adding kickboxing in, but I think we're gonna wait on that.
Yeah.
And there's been guys that hit me up saying, "Hey man, you should do like high school type wrestling and like jiu-jitsu grappling." I mean,
What the fuck?
Yeah, that sounds cool, but that's like super niche, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like you're you know, it's gonna be super hard. It's already hard enough to find opponents sometimes for guys in just boxing and MMA alone.
Yeah.
Get some gals, get some girls.
Yeah, that's what I think. On this card, we're gonna have 2 girl fights. 2.
Oh, dope.
And they're both gonna be at 145. So
nice.
So look out for those. So those should be pretty good. We have 2 girl fights scheduled at the moment, both at 145. And I think the second UBL event we had 2 girl fights as well.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But the crowd for some reason loves.
They'll love girl fights.
They love girl fights, dude. That third event that got scrapped, unfortunately, that card was supposed to have 3 girl fights, and 2 of them were going to be MMA fights.
Oh shit!
So yeah, so I was really looking forward to that. So I was.
Have you heard of Beautiful Brawlers?
No,
They're
No,
like
I
a
know the
girl
lingerie fighting championships at LFC.
Where's
No,
this
these are
at? I gotta
girls that
find
have-
this.
These are girls that really brawl, and they're trying to get somewhere and become.
Where are they
professionals,
based
yeah.
out of?
Yeah, where are they based out of?
I'll send you the link. I don't
Okay.
know too much about them, but I know they're serious contenders. This one girl, let's see, her name is Blanca Gutierrez.
Mhm.
Blanca Gutierrez. I'll send you the link. Beautiful brawlers.
Beautiful brawlers. Okay, yeah. Send me the link for that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'll hit them up. I get pretty surprised because I see, sometimes I'll follow fighters who are fighting in legit, small time promotions, but they're way more legit than our league, as far as like they got their permits and shit, and
Yeah.
and I'll follow. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll follow these small time promotion companies and follow the fighters that fight in these small time promotion companies, and I'll give them a follow. And like within 10 minutes, I'll have one of them in my DMs like, hey, when's your guys' next event? Can I fight on your? Can I fight? Can I?
Yeah,
can I fight,
there
can
you
I fight
go.
for you guys. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, so yeah, you never know. Because when I first started doing it, I was shying away from adding like people who had already fought in legit promotion companies as friends, but then I just started doing it out of nowhere, and you'd be surprised how these people, like, they just want to fight. They don't care
Right.
who they
Yeah.
fight for or where they fight. They're just looking to be
It gets their
as-
name out too.
Yeah,
As well.
they're looking to be as just active as possible. They're just trying to get a fight in. Like, I fought on November 13th, but I'll fight for you on December 4th. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So
It adds to their resume too, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
yeah, they're just trying to get in there. The more
Yeah.
times you get in the ring and the more times you go through the process, you start to you kind of get a little. You're always, no matter what, but before a fight, especially fighting in front of a crowd, you're always going to get those butterflies. You're always going to
Yeah,
get you're going to be scared. You're going to be scared because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what this guy could do. No matter how well trained you are,
Mhm.
you always have a little bit of fear. But
of
it's
course,
how-
you
it's
have
how-
to. You have
it's,
to.
it's,
yeah.
it's how you use the fear, but after you do it enough times, you don't necessarily become numb to it, but you start to be able to react to it better.
Yeah.
So that's what at that point in their career, like a lot of these people who are fighting for small time promotion companies, they're just trying to fight wherever. They'll fight in somebody's backyard, they'll fight in the
Mhm.
alley, they'll fight in front of a big crowd, they'll fight in front of a crowd of 10
Yeah.
people.
Well,
They
think
don't
of all
care.
these UFC people. They started in backyards.
Yeah,
A lot of them did.
yeah, guys like what's his name, Jorge Masvidal, dude, he was fighting
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Kimbo back in the day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, either you can fight or you can't. Usually, it's just the thing. Either you do it enough times and you learn how to fight, or you just
Yeah.
it's not your thing and you just don't fight. So it's just how much effort you're willing to put into it. But that's with everything.
Yeah.
You could do anything you want as long as you're willing to put the effort. And for a lot of things, a lot of people aren't willing to put the effort, and especially something for like fighting. Like the
Mhm.
thing is too, you could put in hours and hours. You could be like at the top of the top, and like you said earlier, it doesn't matter. You can't underestimate anybody.
Yeah.
If you get hit with that one shot, that's it. That's the crazy part, and that's it kind of sucks, but also makes it more enticing in a way. The like, oh man, you never know what's going to happen, and that's why people watch combat sports. I think is because you never know what's going to happen. Like tomorrow, the Canelo. Caleb
Yeah.
Plant, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are writing that dude Caleb Plant off. I mean, he's got some skills. I mean, do I think he's going to win legitimately? Probably not. But could he? Does he have the right amount of? Does he have the right mixture of things to where he could pull off an upset? Yeah, he could. I think he really could. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. So or just
So
like
speaking of the fights, what do you think about like the Paul brothers and the whole marketing and people they fight and who they're gonna fight next?
I mean, I don't really. I know a lot of people who hate those guys. I don't really. I think it's good. I think they're bringing eyes to combat sports that necessarily wouldn't be there. It's kind of what we're hoping to do. That's why we that's why when I thought of the UBL, I wanted to do things like add in an entertainment aspect, like with the music and stuff, because sometimes the people who are listening to these bands or listening to these artists, they might show up for them, but they might not necessarily want to. They might necessarily be interested in watching fights, but once they're there and now they kind of see it, now that's bringing new eyes, that's bringing new blood to the sport. And I think combat sports, specifically boxing, used to be a really, really huge thing. You know, even as little
Yeah, in the
as,
80s
you know,
and 90s. For
90s
sure.
and 60s, 70s. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I know even like you know, I've talked to, you know, my grandpa and grandma, and you know, they grew up in the 30s and 40s and shit, and you know, they tell me about listening to Joe Louis on the radio and shit, like
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
gathering around, you know, the radio and listening to boxers like, you know, Joe Louis and you know, Sonny
Yeah.
Liston and Marciano and those type of
Yeah.
dudes, Dempsey, and like, you know, to gather your family around a radio.
Yeah.
To just you're not even watching the fight, you're listening
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like somebody
Right.
describe the fight to you, you know.
I
So
think,
and then
yeah, I remember Marcos, we with the fraternity house, we used to even bootleg some pay-per-view fighting, you know.
yeah, dude, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Fraternity house, that was huge.
fight combat sports in general used to be a bigger thing. I think MMA, I think UFC has helped it a lot.
Yeah.
But and I mean, I think right now boxing has gotten a little bit of a resurgence. But you know, I think what the Paul brothers are doing is they're bringing eyes and fans and people to combat sports who necessarily wouldn't
Yeah.
be there. I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
It's
Well,
just like,
supposedly
yeah,
he's
I
gonna
think
fight
it's,
a real fighter.
Yeah, he's gonna
Is that
fight. He's
right?
gonna fight Tommy Fury. He's gonna fight
Tommy
Tyson
Fury, yeah.
Tyson Fury's little brother.
Yep.
So and you know, I think that's a good matchup for him. Tommy Fury doesn't have a huge
record.
amateur
yeah.
background.
Yeah.
I think in the amateurs he had like, I want to say like nine amateur fights. He didn't fight very many amateur fights. He went straight
Yeah.
to the pros. But I mean, both of the brothers did.
They were
Both the
so
Fury brothers did.
yeah. He was on. So which Paul brother is that one? Jake.
Jake is
Or-
gonna fight.
Jake
yeah.
is
Yeah.
fighting Tommy,
So-
and then Logan
Yep.
is fighting Mike Tyson. So
Oh, is he really? Is that the
Yeah,
new
he's
Is
one?
that
fighting
gonna
Mike-
happen?
yeah.
I don't know.
So
Is that really
Jake.
gonna
Well,
happen?
wait,
I mean,
hold
that-
on. Sorry, real quick. So Jake was on the Full Send podcast with the whole what are those guys called? I forget their
Oh yeah,
names.
the dad.
no, I think that's
beard.
I think
Yeah.
Full Send is Logan Paul. I think that's the older brother.
No,
I'm
it
not
was
sure.
it was the younger one, but it was like
is it?
he was on the podcast and he was talking about how he's choosing them. So he says like basically the ones with the bigger social media presence.
That's
And he was
smart.
talking about the
That
whole
is
Tyson,
smart, yeah.
he was talking about the whole Tyson Woodley like rematch. He's like, probably not. I'm looking for, you know, these numbers to occur, otherwise it's not worth my time at all. So to the point of just like, if nothing else for boxing, I feel like it's just teaching all these boxers like this is what you have to do to fucking make the sport that you're in, and MMA too. This is
Yeah.
what you have to do to make it this big. Whereas, like, I don't know if we're ever going to, and not to cut off the other story with Tyson, Mike Tyson and Logan Paul, but like with Tyson Fury, like in order to be this like fucking like, so the question I guess is half the question is Tyson Fury the best boxer of all time? Or is it this is how you have to be at the top of your game? You have to go to fucking war with somebody for fucking 3 times at the fucking toughest class ever
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fucking come out of this alive and just to fucking match what these kids are doing from social media.
Well, this is
It's, like,
beneficial
insane.
to Tommy Fury too, because there's a lot of younger generation don't even know who the hell he is.
No, I don't
They
know.
damn
who he
near
is.
show
Yeah, I
Jake
didn't know.
Paul, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're right. A lot of what they're doing, instead of a lot of these, I think instead of a lot of fighters or a lot of people in combat sports in general hating on them, you should kind of look to them as a
Yeah.
blueprint, kind of a blueprint, because
Right.
you think about it. I mean, how many times, you know, if you follow the UFC like closely, how many times has there been fighters in the UFC who've been on like nine fight winning streaks,
Right.
you know, 12 fight winning streaks, but they're
Mhm.
boring. They're boring as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just those guys that kind of, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, to the masses, to the mainstream media, to the casuals that are watching, you know, these guys, they're like wrestler dudes who lay on top of you for 3
Right.
rounds, and then they end
Yeah.
up getting the W. And those guys get overlooked. You know, they're like, well, I've won 12 fights in a row. I have the most wins in the lightweight division. You know, I've put together 12 fights. I'm still not getting a title shot. You're not getting a title shot because you can't put asses in the seats.
Right.
And that's
right.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
boxing and MMA are a business,
Yeah.
and
about
they're
money.
they're putting asses in the seats. So instead of hating on these guys, like look to them as somewhat of a blueprint of you know what you should be doing if you want to get paid, because a lot
Right.
of the fighters they complain about, oh, I don't get paid enough. This, this,
Dana
that.
White is like fucking holding us back.
Yeah.
And we get
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, and I'm sure Dana could pay them more.
Right.
I'm not, you know, I'm not saying Dana White pays them really well, because he really
Right.
doesn't. But you're also not helping your own cause by
Right.
not being more marketable or
Mm.
creating some type of persona. Like they're taking like somewhat of what Floyd Mayweather did, because Floyd Mayweather early in his career, he was Pretty Boy Floyd. That's how he was known. That was his moniker.
Right.
And he was, he was a good boxer, who went to the Olympics, and I think he won like silver. And he was kind of getting stagnant in his career. It's at the point where he became the villain and turned into Money Mayweather.
Right.
Then people started watching him,
Yeah.
not only because they liked him because he was good, but because
They want to see him
They
knocked
didn't like
out.
him.
Right.
and they
Yeah.
want to see him
It's
get beat.
marketing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Paul brothers. It's kind of what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're you watch them, or a lot of people watch them, not because they like them, but because they're like, man, I can't wait till these guys get theirs. I can't wait till they fight a real fighter. I can't wait till they.
Yeah.
I want to see these fucking YouTube pussies get fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what it is. And whether you're watching them to whether you don't like them and you want to see them get knocked out, or you do like them and you're rooting for them, you're gonna watch. You're gonna probably pay the $50, or you're gonna buy the $100 ticket to go watch them in Las Vegas or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's at the end of the day, it's a business, and they're using before they even started doing this, they had huge social media presence. And like I said, it's
Yeah.
good because it's
Yeah.
it's bringing fans. The people who probably were following them before they started boxing, they probably never watched boxing, but now they are watching boxing. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, they're helping the guys, even the guys that they're fighting, like Tyron Woodley. Like Tyron Woodley, who knows? He probably doesn't have a huge social media presence. He can, if he fought
Yeah.
anybody else,
Yeah.
else in a boxing match, no one would
Right.
want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
not a
you
good
know.
speaker either. So
I
I think
don't
that's what it is. The Paul brothers are great speakers. They're
Yeah.
eloquent.
They know how to evoke emotion.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
They're
that's kind of what it's about,
assholes.
yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
fucking around the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what-
and that's what,
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say that's why like Nate Diaz, they keep bringing him back for like
Ex-
UFC stuff. It's like
because
Yeah.
he
yeah.
has that
He's
fucking
funny, he's
personality.
funny.
You want
exactly
him
Yeah.
as part of your event.
He's just like him and his brother. They have that. It's their persona.
Yeah.
It's kind of like WWE in a way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who don't like that, but I think it's great. And I think any way that you can, advance your career, do it. If you have to, if you have to be that, they might not even be assholes in real life. They might be super
Yeah.
cool ass dudes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if that's what they have to sell themselves as, to sell the tickets, then that's just what they got to do,
Yeah.
So
So
That's the world we're in. That's the TikTok world
Yeah.
we're in.
it is, man.
You got to
It's
sell
cra- it's-
yourself. You got to be marketable.
Mhm.
You got to be funny. You got to be weird. I mean, right? That's
You got to be something. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy when I think about it too, because yeah, man, the social media changed everything, dude.
Yeah.
Everything. Just in like the last 10 years, social media has really, really blown up. Social media has probably been around closer to 20 years, but just in the last, like I say, 5 to 10 years,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's just like this. It's everything,
Well,
man. It's
that's how you get
it's like
popular.
it's a currency. In
Yeah.
a way,
Yeah.
it's your currency. It's crazy. I don't necessarily like it. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? I believe that, I believe in I think there should be a dislike button. as well as a like
Yeah.
button, you know what I mean?
There is on
I'm
YouTube,
that guy. You know what I mean? I think it's, but
Thumbs down.
thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that on Instagram. I'm like, sometimes I'm scrolling through stuff and it's like, man, I have the option just to like it or ignore it.
Yeah.
I don't have an option to be like, no, this is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Well, shout out to Danny Desperado, because I think that's how the fight's gonna end for Tyson and Logan Paul. It's gonna be like a lot of heavy body shots, and we're gonna see who comes out ahead after that fight. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah, man, that'll be an interesting one. Yeah.
So let's wrap it up, and thank you again, Chuck, for bringing the heat. You're fucking the ultimate guest for us. So let's shout out everything that's coming up for you guys. So you got this super secret event.
Yeah.
You're looking for fighters. Where should people hit you up if they're interested in fighting?
If you want to hit me up, if you're interested in fighting, hit me up on the UBL page at UBL_21. Hit me up there and just let me know you're interested. Just give me your stats, basics, height, weight, age, experience level, things like that. Whether you want to compete boxing or MMA, and I'll try my best to get you in there into the into the event on December 4th in the SoCal area. Also too, yeah, it's going to be in the SoCal area. So I've had a lot of guys hit me up, from, Northern California, and I let them know, hey man, it is in SoCal. So if you're willing to make the drive, then yeah.
Wait, big question. Do you have to be vaccinated?
That's
No,
a good one.
No vaccinations. I mean, everybody will be wearing their masks and stuff. He's the guy that I'm working with on his property. He said, we're not gonna check vax. I mean, it's underground.
It's underground.
So,
It's underground.
yeah. He's not gonna be like, oh, show me your vax card, But
you got to wear a rubber. You have to wear a rubber.
So I mean, he's gonna do. It's on his property, and he's gonna have everybody.
His property, his rules.
Yeah, his
there we
rules,
go.
exactly,
There we go.
So,
Yeah.
but he's it's not gonna be anything crazy like that. You don't have to be vaxxed. Just bring a mask. That's about it. And then just train and be ready to fight. It's kind of short notice. What's today? Today's what, the 5th? So we were about a month out exactly.
Mhm.
So I mean, if you're willing to fight in a month from now,
There you go.
Like I said, at UBL 21 _21. You can hit me up at Coach Hitman, at Coach Hitman 90. That's my personal if you want to talk directly to me. And then check out our YouTube page, UBL. It's U.B.L, and then all caps. And
Nice.
yeah, man. So just
What do you have? What do you have up on the site right now for the YouTube stuff?
I have as of right now, we have a bunch of just random fights from the second event. We have, I believe, my fight that I just had with a Punk Rock Fight Club, and then we have the live streams.
Oh, no.
The nonstop live streams of the first show, and I think it's broken into 3 parts.
Okay.
But it's continuous, and it's exactly what you were talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
there is you will see the fights in there, but you're also going to see a lot of filler stuff where he's
That's fun.
walking
That's
around
fun.
and talking to everybody and stuff. So yeah, that was
Zooming in on
cool.
Some chicks, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some chicks there.
So yeah, man, it's a good time. Yeah. So
Sweet.
check it out on there. We're gonna do the show in December and add some more stuff onto there, and just go from there and just keep on keeping on and just trying to keep this
Well,
thing
if you ever
going.
need a MC for a San Jose event, hit me up. I'll MC an event.
Hell yeah, man. We'd love that. Hell yeah.
I'll
right.
mispronounce some names and get people mad.
Yeah.
Purpose.
On purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
Evoke emotion, yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Chuck Howard, aka Coach Hitman, aka the San Jose Vince McMahon. He's getting in the ring. He's got a storyline going. So anyway, thank you, and thank you, UBL. Once again, just an amazing podcast, and I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys, for having me. It's always a good time. So, anytime, man. Thank you guys.
Cool. All right, Drink Tokens number. Which number is it, Rob?
29.
29. All right.
Yeah, keep
All right,
it going.
Easily I approach the 5th of him because I ain't no joke.